They laughed as I stood there, humiliated, my dignity ripped away in front of hundreds. My in-laws called me names, twisted my words, stripped me of pride in front of flashing cameras. Phones captured every moment, every whisper, every cruel joke. But what they didn't know, someone was watching. Someone with the power to change everything. My father had been watching, and he knew exactly how to teach them a lesson they'd never forget. Stay with me. By the end, justice would come in ways they never imagined. If you're loving this story, hit subscribe, give it a like, and drop a comment. I want to hear what you do. The moment I stepped into the Caldwell estate, I knew something was off. The chandelier sparkled like frozen stars. Crystal glasses clinked, and the soft hum of expensive music filled the air. Hundreds of guests mingled, all polished, all wealthy, all perfect, except for me. In my simple navy dress, one I'd chosen because it felt comfortable, I suddenly felt exposed, like a bird in a gilded cage. Their eyes were on me, calculating, whispering. I tried to straighten my posture, to remind myself that this wasn't my first time feeling out of place, but tonight it would be worse. Vivian Caldwell, my mother-in-law, spotted me immediately. Her smile was sharp, surgical, the kind that could cut glass. Olivia, her daughter, stood behind her, smirking as though she were watching a live show designed for her own entertainment. And Derek, my husband, was nowhere near to protect me, already swept away into a conversation with his father. "You came," Vivian said, her voice sweet and poisonous at the same time. "How quaint you look." I forced a smile. "Thank you, Mrs. Caldwell." She didn't miss the opportunity to parade me in front of the crowd, whispering to Olivia, who nodded and began to subtly spread snide remarks. I could hear the laughter behind fake smiles, see the phones snapping pictures, hear the soft gasps as guests looked at me like I was a spectacle. Everything was happening too fast. 1 second I was walking in, trying to blend into the background. The next, Vivian's hand was at my arm, pulling me toward the center of the room, where all eyes could fix on me. "You need to understand your place," Vivian whispered in my ear, cold and deliberate. "We know why you're here, and it isn't for love." My heart sank. I opened my mouth to defend myself, but no words came. The whispers in the room grew louder. Guests were taking videos, not to capture celebration, but to record my humiliation. My husband? Still nowhere. My stomach twisted, fear and shame wrapping around me like chains. And then it happened. The accusation. Vivian's voice, loud and deliberate, cutting through the music and chatter. "She's stolen from us, right here, in front of everyone. Search her." Time froze. Every eye in the room turned toward me. Hundreds of faces, hundreds of phones recording, every single person staring at me as though I were the villain in their private drama. I felt the world collapse around me, the room spinning, the whispers turning into gasps, then laughter. I was alone, powerless, exposed, and yet, even in that moment of complete despair, one thought anchored me. My father, he will know. I reached for my phone, shaking, breath ragged, knowing that the only way out was to call the one person who could turn this nightmare upside down. I wasn't always someone who stood at the mercy of others' opinions. My name is Lena Harper, and I come from a world that most people only dream of. My father, Jonathan Harper, is a self-made billionaire who built an empire from nothing. Technology, real estate, investments, you name it. Growing up, private jets and luxury vacations were normal for me, but I learned early that wealth could be both a blessing and a trap. People smiled at you, but they were counting what they could gain. Every friendship, every smile, seemed to have a hidden price tag. By the time I turned 18, I'd made a choice. I wanted to find love that wasn't tied to money. I changed my last name, moved to a smaller city, and lived modestly, going to a local university where I could just be Lena, not the heiress. My father supported me, though with his usual quiet intensity. He only asked for one thing: if I ever truly needed him, I would call. I promised. And that promise would become the lifeline I didn't know I'd need. It was at university that I met Derek Caldwell. He was charming, witty, and had a smile that made the world feel lighter. We were both studying business, though his family's wealth was as visible as mine was hidden. I fell for him quickly, drawn to the kindness he showed me, the humor, and the way he made me feel safe, even when the world wasn't. Within a year, we were married in a small, intimate ceremony. It felt perfect, a dream come true. I never revealed my family wealth to Derek or anyone else, not because I wanted to deceive, but because I wanted our love to be real. I wanted him to love me for me, not for my name, my inheritance, or the fortune that could come with it. Derek was smitten, and I was cautiously hopeful that I'd finally found someone who saw me, truly. But little did I know, the real challenge wasn't keeping our love alive. It was surviving the scrutiny, judgment, and cruelty of his family. The Caldwells, who had been watching, waiting, and ready to judge everything about me. I thought love would protect me. I thought it would be enough. I would soon learn that some families measure a person by their pedigree, their appearance, even their skin, and that love alone isn't always enough to keep cruelty at bay. From the very first time I met the Caldwell family, I felt it, a chill, a quiet judgment that weighed heavier than any wealth I had ever known. Vivian Caldwell, Derek's mother, carried herself like royalty. Her smile was always perfectly painted, but it rarely reached her eyes. Every word she spoke felt calculated, a subtle reminder that I wasn't enough. Every glance, every polite hello was layered with condescension, like I was a visitor in a world I could never truly belong to. Then there was Charles Caldwell, Derek's father. Unlike his wife, he didn't bother with niceties or veiled insults. He simply ignored me. I could walk into a room, offer him my hand, and he would stare past me as though I were invisible. At first, I thought it was me, my nerves, my modest background. But over time, I realized he was deliberate. Being ignored was worse than being insulted, because it erased me completely, made me feel as if my existence were irrelevant. And then there was Olivia Caldwell, Derek's younger sister. She was dangerous in a way that was subtle and insidious. She smiled, she complimented, she laughed, but her words always carried a sting. "That dress is cute," she'd say, her tone dripping with fake sweetness. Then, in the same breath, she'd whisper to her friends, "I can't believe he married someone like her. She invited me for lunch, only to spend the entire time comparing me to other women Derek could have had, wealthy, polished, perfect." I was never enough. I was never enough. Never the right fit. I tried. I truly did. I smiled, laughed politely, and even bent over backward to fit into their world. I wanted them to see me for who I was, not just a new wife or a curiosity. I wanted Derek's family to accept me as his partner, as someone worthy of love and respect. But with every passing week, every family dinner, every holiday gathering, the judgment only intensified. Vivian made it clear that my manners, my clothes, my speech, and even my laugh were all lacking. Olivia found ways to undermine me quietly, planting seeds of doubt in Derek's mind. And Charles continued to ignore me, a silent yet cutting reminder that in their world, I didn't belong. Through it all, Derek said nothing. Not one word in my defense. "They'll come around eventually," he'd whisper, patting my hand, dismissing my pain. 2 years of patience, of swallowing my pride, of enduring humiliation became my reality. And deep down, I began to realize that the real test wasn't about fitting in. It was about surviving a family who didn't want me at all. Every day, attention grew. Every encounter with the Caldwell family chipped away at my confidence. I began to understand something fundamental. Some people don't just judge you, they look for ways to destroy the person you are. What Derek's family didn't know, and what I had carefully hidden for years, was that I came from wealth that dwarfed anything the Caldwells could imagine. My father, Jonathan Harper, wasn't just rich, he was a titan. Technology, real estate, global investments, his influence was quiet but absolute. Growing up, I watched him negotiate billion-dollar deals and simultaneously hold our family together with love and precision. Yet despite all this, I didn't want my life to revolve around money. I didn't want love to come with a price tag. I made a choice. I changed my last name, moved to a smaller city, adopted a modest lifestyle. I went to college where no one knew me, took public transportation, even worked part-time jobs to feel grounded. I wanted to be Lena Harper, not the daughter of a billionaire. I wanted relationships built on respect, trust, and love. My father never pressured me to flaunt my wealth. He only made me promise one thing. If I ever truly needed him, I would call. And I kept that promise locked away in my heart, believing I could solve my problems on my own first. Meeting Derek Caldwell felt like fate. He was kind, witty, and made me feel seen. But love alone couldn't shield me from the harsh judgment of his family. Vivian's whispers, Olivia's subtle smirks, Charles's cold indifference, they chipped away at the life I thought I could build. Still, I observed. I watched Olivia sip her wine, eyes flicking to my dress, lips curling with that practiced smile. Vivian lingered a second too long near my chair, a soft sniff betraying disdain. I memorized the rhythm of their cruelty, their patterns of insult, the way the room shifted whenever they had the power to belittle. Every glance, every whispered remark became a clue. I could endure their petty games, but I knew the day might come when patience alone wouldn't be enough. Somewhere deep down, I realized, if that day arrived, the Caldwells wouldn't just be surprised, they'd be utterly unprepared. Because sometimes, the people who think they hold all the power are the ones who know nothing about it. 2 years, 2 long years of biting my tongue, forcing smiles, and swallowing insults that cut deeper than I ever thought possible. Every encounter with the Caldwells left me exhausted, questioning myself, and yet determined to endure. I had chosen love, believing that Derek and I could weather anything, but love, it seemed, could not shield me from their judgment. Vivian's disdain was relentless. She scrutinized my hair, my clothes, even the way I held a glass of wine. Every misstep, no matter how small, earned a whispered critique behind her hand, followed by that sharp smile designed to wound. Olivia's subtler cruelty was even more insidious. She would compliment me, her tone honeyed, only to whisper to a friend, "I can't believe he married someone like her." And Charles remained a silent observer, his indifference like ice pressing against my skin. It was as though I didn't exist in the eyes of the person who mattered the most in that family hierarchy. Derek, my husband, should have been my shield. But time and time again, he failed me. When Vivian laughed at my clothes, or Olivia whispered a cutting remark, Derek's hand would squeeze mine gently, a weak attempt at comfort. "They'll come around," he'd murmur, his eyes avoiding mine. That was all. No words to defend me, no action to stop the cruelty. Just reassurance that only served as a reminder I was alone in their world. I tried to be patient, to prove my worth quietly, hoping that perseverance would soften their judgment. I reminded myself that love was about endurance, about choosing to stand by someone even when the world was against you. But the constant microaggressions, the relentless whispers, the cold dismissals. Over time, they accumulated like stones in my chest, each one heavier than the last. Even my moments of joy with Derek were tinged with anxiety. Family dinners were a minefield. Holidays were exercises in restraint. And public events felt like arenas where I had to perform perfection just to avoid ridicule. My confidence wavered, but I refused to let it break me. I held on to the knowledge that my father had raised me to be strategic, to be observant, and that patience could become a weapon if wielded wisely. By the end of those 2 years, I had learned every nuance of the Caldwells' cruelty. I knew their habits, their patterns, their weaknesses. And though I loved Derek with all my heart, I realized something painful. Love alone could not protect me from a family that thrived on power, judgment, and control. The truth I had been building toward quietly for 2 years was this: when the moment came to confront their arrogance, I would be ready, and it would be nothing they had ever expected. The day of our second anniversary, Derek tried to convince me to attend a party his mother had insisted on throwing. "It's for us," he said, though we both knew it was for her. Her chance to show the world that her son had married well, or at least appeared to. I wanted to refuse, but Derek's smile and gentle insistence wore me down. Maybe, I thought, this is her way of finally accepting me. I should have known better. The Caldwell estate was unrecognizable from any other evening. Crystal chandeliers hung like frozen waterfalls, reflecting the golden light of hundreds of candles. Live musicians played classical melodies that seemed out of place with the tension brewing underneath. Towering ice sculptures glistened, fountains of champagne bubbled endlessly, and a red carpet led straight to the grand entrance where photographers waited, cameras clicking even before we arrived. 200 people had been invited: business moguls, celebrities, politicians, and socialites. Every woman shimmered in diamonds and designer gowns that must have cost more than my entire wardrobe combined. Every man was impeccably tailored, some with watches that could fund a child's college education. Luxury cars stretched in lines around the estate, valet teams orchestrating movement with precise timing. And there I was, in a simple cream-colored dress I had chosen to feel comfortable, feeling exposed and out of place. I could feel the eyes on me, the whispers brushing against me like icy wind. That's her. That's the girl he married. Poor thing. I tried to hold my head high, reminding myself that appearances were deceiving, that this night was a test of patience. It didn't take long for Vivian to find me. She approached with that sharp smile, the one that always seemed to slice through my confidence. "Lena," she said sweetly, with a tilt of her head that dripped with condescension. "How quaint you look tonight." Olivia appeared at her mother's side, radiant in a gown that could have bought my modest apartment. She giggled softly. "We're so glad you could join us," she added, her words like a knife wrapped in velvet. "This isn't celebration. This is war," I realized. Derek was already pulled away by his father, engaged in serious conversation about business deals. I was left alone, standing in the center of the glittering chaos, a tiny figure under a spotlight that seemed designed to expose me. Every phone pointed in my direction. Every eye was on me. The sense of isolation was suffocating. I had no idea that tonight would change everything, that the humiliation and cruelty I had endured for 2 years would reach a crescendo, a moment I would never forget, and neither would the Caldwells. The party was in full swing when Vivian took the microphone for a toast. Her voice was polished, melodic, but every word dripped with self-importance. She thanked the guests, praised family and love, and I forced a smile, praying it would be over soon. Then her expression changed. Her hand flew to her neck. My necklace, the pink diamond necklace, Derek had given it to me last Christmas, was gone. The room froze. 200 pairs of eyes turned toward her. The orchestra halted mid-note, glasses clinked awkwardly, and an uncomfortable silence settled over the crowd. Vivian's voice rose, sharp and accusatory. "It's gone! My necklace! Someone has taken it! I felt my heart drop into my stomach. Across the room, her gaze locked onto me, and I knew what was coming before the words even left her mouth. "Lena," she said, her tone venomous, "you were in my dressing room earlier. I saw you. Take it off. Show everyone what you've done." Whispers erupted like wildfire. Phones emerged from every corner, cameras recording. I opened my mouth to protest, but no words would form. "I did it! Please! I didn't take it!" I stammered, panic clawing at my throat. Olivia stepped forward, leaning close to her mother, her voice syrupy sweet. "I saw her near the jewelry, Mother. She was definitely suspicious." I shook my head, desperation growing. "This is ridiculous. I wouldn't steal from you. Please, you have to believe me." Vivian's expression hardened. "Everyone knows why you married Derek. This proves what we've always suspected. You're nothing but a gold digger, a common thief." The crowd erupted into murmurs, some jeering, some recording every second of my humiliation. Derek's eyes met mine for a fleeting moment, but instead of helping, he stepped back, silent, as if the room itself had swallowed his voice. Then Vivian lunged forward, grasping my arm. Her nails dug into my skin, and Olivia pulled at the other side. I tried to resist, tried to protect myself, but they were stronger, and the room had formed a circle around us, phones held high, capturing every movement. Before I could process it, my dress was yanked roughly from my body. I stood there in my undergarments, the spotlight no longer a warm glow, but a harsh illumination of shame. 200 people watched, recording, whispering, laughing at the girl they assumed had taken what was never hers. Every ounce of composure I had built over the past 2 years shattered in an instant. The party, the wealth, the so-called family, it all became a stage for my degradation. And yet, amid the fear and humiliation, one thought anchored me. My father, he will know. He will fix this. As I stood there, trembling and exposed, a small glimmer of hope kept me grounded. I remembered the promise I had made to my father 2 years ago. If I ever truly needed him, I would call. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely dial the number on my phone, which I had borrowed from a young valet who had silently draped his jacket over my shoulders. "Dad," my voice broke, barely audible over the whispers and murmurs of the crowd. "I need you, please. You have to help me. They stripped me. They're accusing me of stealing. Derek, he isn't saying anything." On the other end, I heard the sharp intake of breath I knew all too well. Jonathan Harper's voice, usually calm and measured, carried an immediate edge of urgency. "Lena, where are you? Stay where you are. Don't move. I'm coming." And trust me, they have no idea what's about to happen. Even as I clutched the valet's coat tighter around me, I felt a small flicker of strength return. My father didn't just love me, he protected me. And he did it in a way that was always precise, calculated, and unstoppable. Within 15 minutes, the night erupted into chaos. The sound of powerful engines announced the arrival of 10 sleek black SUVs, followed by a row of gleaming limousines that cut through the darkness like a black wave. A helicopter descended, its spotlight piercing the estate and illuminating the scene for everyone inside. Guests pressed to the windows, pointing and whispering, trying to understand the sudden spectacle. And then, the doors of a central limousine opened, and there he was, Jonathan Harper. At 60, he carried the same presence I had known since childhood, imposing, commanding, yet composed. Silver hair, sharp eyes, and a suit that probably cost more than the entire Caldwell estate. Behind him, a team of 20 security personnel moved with military precision. Lawyers followed with briefcases, and even the city's police commissioner, Morris, finally realized, "You are the leader. You are the leader." News helicopters circled overhead, tipped off by my father, ensuring that the world was watching. He strode straight to me, his eyes a mix of fury and concern. He removed his expensive coat and wrapped it around my trembling shoulders, lifting me gently to my feet. "I'm here now, baby girl," he said softly. Then, with a voice that carried like thunder across the estate, he demanded, "Which one of you touched my daughter?" Inside, the party froze. Vivian, Charles, and Olivia stood at the doorway, stunned. unsure, realizing too late that the game had shifted and the Harper family wasn't just present, they were in control. For the first time that night, I felt safe. The nightmare had begun to flip, and the people who thought they held power were about to learn a lesson they'd never forget. Jonathan Harper didn't waste a moment. The moment he stepped inside the Caldwell estate, the energy shifted. 200 high society guests watched in stunned silence as he guided me to the center of the room, security and lawyers fanning out around us like a protective wall. Phones lowered, conversations died, and even Derek froze, realizing the storm he had ignored for so long was now at his doorstep. With calm authority, my father took the microphone from a flustered Vivian. "Good evening," he began, his voice measured but commanding. "My name is Jonathan Harper. Perhaps some of you have heard of me. For those who haven't, I built the Harper Global Corporation, with holdings spanning technology, real estate, and finance worldwide. And this woman," he drew a protective hand to my shoulder, "the woman you humiliated tonight, stripped and accused of theft, is my daughter, Lena Harper." Gasps echoed through the room. Whispers spread like wildfire. Vivian's face turned as pale as the chandeliers overhead. Olivia's smile faltered, and Charles simply opened his mouth, too stunned to speak. Jonathan continued, showing documents on the estate's massive screens. Birth certificates, trust fund papers, and photographs chronicled my life in wealth and integrity. The truth of my modest disguise, the reason I had lived quietly, was laid bare for everyone to see. The crowd's murmurs shifted from judgment to shock to disbelief. Then came the pièce de résistance. Security footage, cameras my father had discreetly installed months prior, revealed the Caldwell family's true intentions. Olivia sneaking into her mother's jewelry case, hiding the pink diamond under a rose bush, and a private conversation with Vivian plotting to frame me. Every act of deception, every whispered cruelty was displayed for all to witness. Jonathan turned, his voice icy. "Vivian, Olivia, would either of you like to explain yourselves?" Olivia crumpled to the floor, sobbing, confessing Vivian's orchestration of the entire scheme. Vivian, now the center of attention and humiliation, had no words to defend herself. Phones that had once recorded my shame now captured theirs, ensuring that the world outside would know the truth. Jonathan's lawyer stepped forward, revealing that the Caldwell estate itself, their businesses, and even their trust funds were under Harper control. Every property, every asset, meticulously acquired through legal channels, all traced and verified. Their empire, built on arrogance and cruelty, was now under my father's ownership. He turned to the stunned crowd. "Let this be a lesson. Those who seek to harm what they don't understand, those who humiliate, manipulate, and deceive, their time comes. And tonight, justice has been served." The Caldwells had lost everything. Their wealth, their reputation, and their control, all dismantled, systematically, publicly, and undeniably. And through it all, I stood beside my father, finally free from their judgment, humiliation, and cruelty. The Caldwell estate, once a symbol of wealth and arrogance, now felt hollow. The chandeliers still glimmered, the walls still echoed with opulence, but the air was heavy with defeat, regret, and humiliation. I stood beside my father, wrapped in his protective presence, feeling something I hadn't felt in 2 years: relief. Not just from the public vindication, but from finally reclaiming my dignity. Derek approached cautiously, eyes wide and desperate. "Lena, Please, you have to forgive me. I didn't know what to do. I love you," he pleaded. But I had long ago realized that love without action is hollow. 2 years of silence, 2 years of letting them humiliate me, had taught me the truth. His loyalty was never mine. "I loved you," I said calmly, my voice steady. "But love isn't just words. It's action, and you chose them over me. I'm filing for divorce tomorrow, and I want nothing, no money, no property. I never needed it. I only needed you to stand beside me, and you didn't." Derek's face fell, tears streaming, but my resolve was unshakable. I signed the papers the next day, officially severing ties with the man who couldn't protect me when it mattered most. Freedom never felt so sweet. Months passed, and the Caldwell family's empire crumbled under my father's legal and financial maneuvers. Their estate was seized, their businesses collapsed, and every luxury they had relied upon evaporated. Vivian worked at a retail store. Olivia's boutiques were shuttered, and Charles took a modest sales job. Their high society friends abandoned them. Their world, once built on judgment and pretense, had vanished. For me, life became a return to authenticity. I embraced my identity as Lena Harper, executive and heir to Harper Global Corporation. I co-founded a foundation supporting women escaping toxic families and abusive relationships, helping them rebuild their lives with confidence and resources. I purchased my own penthouse, traveled, and surrounded myself with genuine friends who valued me for me. One evening, 6 months later, while hosting a gala for my foundation, I saw Vivian across the room, older, humbled, and tired. She approached cautiously, her voice small. "Lena, I'm sorry, truly." I looked at her for a long moment. "I forgive you," I said softly. "Not for her, but for me." Forgiveness wasn't about forgetting, it was about release. That night, watching women I had helped reclaim their lives, I realized the true lesson. The worst cruelty sometimes frees us. The Caldwell family thought they were punishing me, but their actions gave me strength, clarity, and freedom. I walked into that anniversary party 2 years ago seeking approval. I walked out owning my power, independent, respected, and free. My father had shown me real protection, and I had discovered my own strength. I am Lena Harper. I am enough. I always was, and I will never let anyone make me feel otherwise.